I've always wondered what makes an anime enjoyable. Some people love the genius narratives present in anime, such as Fullmetal Alchemist, Hunter x Hunter, Steins Gate, and the likes, which pushes the boundaries of what it means to make a great story. Then, you also have the highly acclaimed shows such as Gurren Lagann and Jojo's, which, while not bad by a long shot, doesn't seem to have at first a deep and compelling storyline as the former shows. And yet, some may argue they are better than the aforementioned staple juggernauts of the anime industry. Regardless of the value of the argument, it's always piqued my interest as to why these anime always rile up the hearts of fans around the world. That's what's this video. The answer I believe that elevates certain anime more than others and brings them to higher levels of regard is the heart of the anime. When I say the heart of an anime, in the simplest terms I mean the effort behind the show. How palpable is the emotion behind it? That may come off as a completely arbitrary statement, as the meaning of effort differs from person to person depending on the perspective of what that means in relation to a show. Which is why I bring up the first show and make it more clear to what I'm trying to say. Gurren Lagann, the greatest mecha anime ever made, at least based off the mecha anime I've seen, which is only Gurren Lagann, but that's besides the point. However, Gurren Lagann is one of the best displays of heart in anime. On the surface, Gurren Lagann's story isn't exactly top tier. In fact, talking about at face value, it's filled with conveniences, the art style could be inconsistent at times, and the plot, especially during the latter half, seems like it's catering to itself and nothing else. So why is it that it's valued so high in the community that it's in the top 50 anime of my anime list? Well, in my eyes, it's quite simple. The show is just so fun. Despite what I said about it previously, the show is a very entertaining watch. It just radiates energy from its wacky cast of characters to its over-the-top battle sequences. Just by looking at it, you can tell everyone involved in making the show are enjoying themselves. The prime example of this being the lively Kamina. Tyler is one of the most lovable characters in the entire anime sphere. It becomes hard not to get caught up with his antics, as he's clearly always doing what he wants and is having a great time doing it. His high energy attitude just adds to the feeling of adventure and inspiration. Even the soundtracks are extremely unique and imaginative, with OSTs like Vital's theme and a masterpiece that has liberated me from hell. The art style itself even lends to this argument. The scratchy art style allows for creative freedom, which can either ease up in character models for comedic purposes, or tighten up to reflect the serious nature. And nothing encapsulates the sentiment of having fun quite like the ending act of the show, where they just stop caring about anything. When the anime starts to weaponize the mood, you can tell the show doesn't really care about logic. The final act really shows one of the main strengths of this show, which is just having a great time. Hell, the moral of the story is that you can control your fate. Don't let anyone control you or tell you how to live your life and then shoot for the heavens. They then double down on this sentiment by having Gurren Lagann become so massive it makes galaxies look small. No, just for funsies. Gurren Lagann also shows just how to make a hype fight scene. Giant mechs chucking galaxies at each other while the anime opening is playing creates such a good feeling that you don't seem to care about the logic of throwing a galaxy. Everything about this anime just exudes happiness, and you can't help but identify with it when you see the creators of the show having such a good time with what they're making. The show even has deeper layers to it, making it right for multiple watches, paying attention to different story elements such as themes of growing up, becoming your own person, and moving on past tragedy. So despite not telling a story to write home about, just the amount of effort and energy put into the show expands on the feelings of overall greatness. All the heart makes it all the more enjoyable, and that's what matters the most. Not the logistics and science behind multiple dimensions, galaxy-sized beings, or mech fights, but just enjoying it so much that you can look past these things. Because let's be honest, Gurren Lagann isn't a show solely about mechs. It is a show that just wants to take you for a wild ride. Gurren Lagann's a great anime because it's not a great anime story-wise. It has faults and accepts that and moves on past it, often looking at some greater picture, without swaying the little details. I love Gurren Lagann, and the reason I love it so much is because the amount of love went into making it resonates with me. I felt the heart put into it. Now for a stark change of pace, let's talk about some JoJo's. JoJo is one of the most infamous anime ever made. It burst into mainstream, it's all over social media. But why? You always see the memes, but you never see someone praising the story. It's always look at this meme, haha, not look at the dramatic genius of the Oingo Boingo brothers ending. Or an in-depth analysis of why Kira loves sucking fingers. Well, much like the previous example, JoJo's exudes fun but in a more literal and straightforward way. David Production really knew what they were doing when animating the show, because damn, the show is bizarre. The colors are vibrant, and the switch up of color schemes every so often is a nice touch that adds expression and personality to each scene. The soundtracks are filled with so many great OSTs and openings that you can make an anime's greatest hits album off solely JoJo music. Not to mention the characters are very enjoyable to watch. Dio is the quintessential villain. If you ever watch JoJo and someone says the word villain, and you don't think of Dio, you're lying to yourself. He has so much charisma and emanates an aura of badass that you just can't help but like him. And even if you hate him, that's the point. You were supposed to hate him. JoJo's as well are very entertaining to watch, and even the supporting cast is pretty good. Each part tells a completely different story from the previous part, and the story caters to a wide audience. And then you have the holy grail of character moments, the reaction clips where characters react to something in an over-the-top manner, like anytime Old Man Joseph opens his mouth. It becomes very clear this is a passion project because adaptation oozes personality, which explains why it became so popular to people. JoJo's is a really fun watch, so while it's not the best from a technical standpoint, there's nothing wrong with enjoying it and preferring it over other shows. Other shows that immediately come to mind when I think of the heart in anime are Nichijou, Kaguya-sama Love is War, and of course the Monogatari series. This isn't to say that these are the only shows that exhibit this heart. Every show in some way, shape, or form shows this concept, like the fight scenes in Naruto and the world building in One Piece. Certain aspects of some shows were made with more emphasis to get you to like or identify with it. And you'll know if the show succeeded because you would feel more connected to it. I picked what I believe to be some of the best representations of this concept, which would be both Gurren Lagann and Jojo's, in their entirety, because I would need to talk about Gurren Lagann and Jojo's, and well, why wouldn't I? Either way, those are my thoughts on what makes anime special and unique, and why some anime appeal to people more than you think they would. I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions regarding the subject in the comments down below. And hey, if you like what you saw, you could maybe leave a like and even consider subscribing. I've never done anything like this before, so support from you guys would really mean a lot to me. Anyways, that's it for the video. I'll see you on the next one.